Hey guys, Callsign Wolf from Redneck, Mayhem, Airsoft, and I'm bringing you something that has been long awaited, which is the ASG CZ 805 Bren assault rifle. Now, I just got this in 2 days ago from Evike. I pre-ordered it all the way back in August, and they finally shipped it out. Also, keep in mind a pre-game review. There will be a shooting demo in this, but I have not fielded this yet, so these are my pre-game thoughts. For the most part, it's pretty good. I have two concerns, both regarding the stock. But going over the features of the rifle first, you have an ambidextrous select fire switch, which is nice. You have an ambidextrous mag release, much like a SCAR or an ACR. It comes included with these flip-up front and rear sights, which can be activated on either side. These are very nice ambidextrous spring-loaded sights. Charging handle on the left, which brings it back to right there, and you can see the rotary style hop up. I'm fairly sure that this can be switched over, but as I'm right-handed, I have no need to change it to the right side. I have rubber rail covers because the rails are very sharp, and I saw that in the European reviews and decided, well, let's just have some rubber rail covers. So I got these on here to cover up those sharp rails, and I just got a vertical grip. And then I got a Biohazard Reticle EOTech replica on here. But back to features, you have a 5-position retractable stock as well as folding. And it's held here just by spring tension, much like the Ares CCR I did the review on. Going over my two concerns quickly, the way you get into the battery, I could see that breaking, and I could see them also releasing a replacement. My other concern is just with any polymer folding adjustable stock, if you're on the field and have it like this, and you kind of put too much pressure on it in a specific way, I could see this snapping, and then your stock will have broken. One thing that's nice about this, though, is the fact the battery isn't in the stock. It's actually right here. So I will show that how to do that. There is a pin right here. You pop out the pin. You can see it popping out there. You pull out the pin completely. And this is another thing where I can see it potentially getting a little bit. I could see someone potentially snapping that if the build quality goes down. So far, I haven't had an issue with it, but when I first saw the releases, I was a little bit skeptical because it's a large chunk of nothing but polymer. There's not much metal in here. But I could see them selling replacement stocks in case something does happen. Just give or take a few months. So your battery storage space is actually that cavity right there. It goes all the way up to about right here. And the gun that they recommend, or the battery that they recommended, is a 7.4 LiPo, which I happen to have the exact one for the Amoeba. So installation for this is actually really easy. You just slide this in, and then you just connect the Tamiya plugs, and then fold it away, and then take this, line it back up. And again, I don't like this battery system. I feel like the wire's going to get cut or something. Like right now, the wire's kind of leaning down a bit too far. I'm just a little bit skeptical about this. But it's on. So then you just put that pin back in. And it's not fully lined in. I think there was actually a piece of plastic sprue that prevented that pin from going in that time. So as you can see, the battery is a bit finicky to get it in there, and that's kind of my cause of concern. I just don't like the fact that it's so finicky. I will say though, it's better than an AK where you have to have an Allen wrench on the field. This, all you need is just that pin. There we go. Now it's lined up. Okay. So pin is now in place and the battery's installed. Quick rate of fire test. Semi-auto. No mag, obviously, but it has a decent cutoff right there. There's a little bit of travel, but it's not too bad. Full auto. Decent. EOTech's loose. And another interesting is there's a button right here on the back. Probably easier to fold the stock. And when I first picked it up, I'm like, oh, so that's how you drop the butt plate. No, this actually separates the stock piece from the back plate. So you can basically remove the stock and still have that plate in there to hide the battery. So you can run this basically stockless with no hindrance. But my preemptive thoughts on this gun is it's solid. It feels... I paid $350 for it, which is the retail value. It feels solid, and it's definitely nice. But something to keep in mind is it's a CZ805. Chances are there might be a few issues with it being a new release, so if you're not like a huge fan of the 805 like I am, I'd say wait a few months, because they can work out all the kinks with it and all the issues that will probably arise in the first batch. As far as I know, this is from the first batch, because Spartan tagged me in a thing on Instagram of the ASG's official page saying that they were shipping them out, and within 2 weeks this had shipped from Evike. So I'm fairly confident in saying that this is one of the first. This is from the first shipment to the U.S. retailers. So if there's going to be any issues with them, it'll probably arise in this one. But so far, I mean, it sounds pretty good. It feels amazing. And they do call it a Scar Killer because this is basically as expensive as a VFC Scar, a little bit cheaper. And it's more comfortable. And it looks a little bit slicker. And, well, it's basically a Scar. I mean, let me show you a comparison. This is a classic Army Scar that I picked up in Detroit a while back from a local, and basically it's the same thing as this. Keep in mind that this is the classic Army one, so it's not the best. This is like a $200 gun. It's not a VFC, but I have had the VFCs before. Basically, it has an ambidextrous selector. That has one. It has an ambidextrous mag release. The 805 has one. It has a folding stock. The 805 has one. It has a collapsible stock, only 3 points on this model. That has 5, but it still has it. It has a sling plate right here. That has it. And that's another thing to mention real quick. This sling plate, it does fit like standard Condor 1-point slings, but it's rather tight, and I'm almost afraid of this snapping off. That'll be a post-game thing if it does happen, but I am kind of worried about that sling plate breaking. I don't really see any other ways to sling it, though, because you only have this and this for sling mounts. And they're both the same thickness of metal, and I'm not a big fan of that. Back to the Scar, though. With this one, you have an ambidextrous charging handle. You can change this to either side. I have it, again, on the left because I'm right-handed. And it even has a rotary hop-up. So basically, it's like a Scar, but better. Because with a Scar, if this stock breaks off, because it is worth mentioning, if this stock breaks off, you have no place to put your battery, because your battery is housed in here. In addition to that, you have to use an Allen key to unscrew it and pull out the rear section of the buttstock to put the battery in. With this 805, as much as I hope it doesn't happen, if the stock breaks off, the battery is housed in here. So you can still run it basically like a chopped, like someone just chopped the stock off the 805, and the battery is still internally housed, and you don't have to worry about rigging that up. Another thing to keep in mind, though, is with the Scar L or H platform, you are able to change out the motor grips. I have changed the black one to a tan one because I plan on doing this a black and tan combo. But with this, it's basically a proprietary pistol grip. You can't change it out. And then this has an adjustable cheek weld. That doesn't. This does have a cheek weld, but it's built into the stock. And a lot of people will just call this thing a modded SCAR, but from what I gathered, it's basically a modernization of the VZ58 rifle, which is the Czech. A lot of people call them Czechoslovakian AKs, but they have basically nothing in common with the AK aside from the fact that they have a banana type magazine. They're not even compatible with AKs. But I've already been asked like 3 times now, "Oh, nice SCAR," and it's like it's not a SCAR. It's a CZ805. But based on the comparison I just did, you can understand why people think that. Overall, I would say in the build quality, it's a solid 9 out of 10. Performance-wise, I still have to test because I haven't been able to get to a field. Yeah, I've only had it 2 days. And as far as the concerns with the stock, that'll really depend. I don't plan on smashing this, but it is worth noting that this entire assembly... Yeah, this entire assembly is plastic. Well, not plastic, but polymer. So you do run a risk of breaking the stock, and I'm not a big fan of that. Maybe if they release a metal version, I might get that. But I would say if you're a big fan of the 805, like I am, just because of its look and because I played Battlefield 4 when it was popular, I'd say pick it up. But if you're not a big fan of them, I'd say wait a couple months because you don't know what potentially could be wrong in the first batch, which is what this is from. So this has been Callsign Wolf from Redneck, Mayhem, Airsoft, and I hope you guys have enjoyed.